You have been robbed, and the worst part is they trained you to think it was normal. The box that arrived dry enough to snap in your fingers. The beetles chewing tunnels through the wrapper. The order that turned into a tracking number that never once moved. That is not the price of buying cigars online. That is what happens when a faceless conglomerate quietly buys up the biggest shops, stops caring whether a single stick lands alive, and treats your card like a well it gets to keep draining. You were never their customer. You were their inventory. Now here is the good news, and it is better than the bad news. A small number of shops never sold a piece of themselves to any of it. Independent, family-run. One of them opened since 1857. 8 of them are still standing. This is the For Life list, and I am about to name every one. Before we count, I need to hand you the one piece of math that decides whether you ever waste money on cigars again. Here is how the big sites want you to think. $8 a box. Cheapest price on the internet. Add to cart. Feels like a win. But that cheap box lands on your porch dry and dead, every stick a write-off, and it goes straight in the bin. So you did not pay $8 for a box of cigars. You paid $8 for nothing. That is the most expensive box you will ever own, because you got 0 cigars for your money. Now run it forward. Do that dance 5 times a year, the way most guys chasing the cheapest cart do, and across 10 years you have set a few $100s on fire, lighting nothing. Not cigars. Ash before they ever reached your hand. And that is only the money you can see. Add the shipping you paid twice, the evenings you waited on a box that came dead, the gift you meant to hand someone that never arrived worth handing over. When you divide what you actually spent by the number of sticks that showed up worth keeping, that $8 bargain quietly costs you more per good cigar than any shop on this list. The cheap seat was the expensive seat the whole time. So grab a pen. The shops I am about to name are the cheapest place you will ever buy, because nothing from them gets wasted. You pay once for a shop you keep, instead of getting burned 5 times chasing a deal. Every name is new. Not one was on my last list. We are counting up to the best one. Number 8, Cigar Place. We start with a number that should not be possible. Picture 1,600 people who each got their box, opened it, checked a stick, and had exactly nothing to complain about. That is what you are looking at here. A flat, perfect 5 stars, not 4.8, not 4.9 rounded up for the marketing. A clean 5 across more than 1,600 reviews on Trustpilot, sitting on top of an A+ from the Better Business Bureau. I have combed through a lot of shops for this list, and I have never once seen that number hold at that volume. Cigar Place has been selling online out of Florida since 2005, run by a small independent company that never sold a piece of itself to any conglomerate. Sit with that while you look at the score, because the 2 facts are the same fact. A perfect 5 that deep is not luck. It is the boring, invisible machine that makes disappointment rare. Sticks kept in the right conditions before they ship. Packed with humidification so they survive the truck. A human actually checking the order before it leaves the building. You did not just find a store. You found a default. The math already got run for you 1,600 times. Number 7, Cigar Hustler. Remember the shop that took your money and went silent? The order that turned into a dead tracking number and a phone nobody picked up. Now meet the opposite of that man. Ask around long enough and this name keeps surfacing for one reason. Somebody actually answers. Cigar Hustler opened around 2010, and I say around because that year rests on a single source, so treat it as roughly true rather than gospel. What is not soft is the 4.7 stars across roughly 165 reviews on Google and through the local chamber, echoed again on Yelp, and under every one of them the same verdict. They ship fast, and they answer when something goes sideways. This is a leaner operation than the giants, and that is exactly the point. Small enough that a real person owns the outcome. Your order is not a rounding error in a warehouse. Here's the worst case this shop quietly kills. The order that goes wrong and then goes silent, because the man who runs it cannot hide behind a call center. He is the call center. A shop that answers is a shop that is yours. And speaking of numbers you have to sit with, the next shop on this list carries a rating I have to warn you about before you hand it $1. I am not going to hide it from you. Number 6, Windy City Cigars. Now I have to do the thing a trust video is not allowed to skip. I have to tell you the ugly part before I tell you the good part. Windy City Cigars carries a D rating from the Better Business Bureau. I am not going to bury that at the bottom or hope you scroll past it. It is there because of complaints that went unanswered. Not fraud, but a D is a D, and you deserve to hear it out loud before you spend a cent. Here is why the shop still earns a place on this list anyway. 4.7 stars across more than 260 reviews on Trustpilot, with 87% of those people handing it a full 5 stars, plus a clean bill from the scam check checking services. That is a large, real crowd of buyers who got exactly what they paid for, out of Lake Zurich, Illinois. When more than 260 people mostly rave and the one knock is slow complaint handling, the Honest Red is a good shop that needs to answer its mail faster, not a trap. So I am slotting it right here, in the middle, on purpose. Not high, because that D is real. Not off the list, because those 5-star reviews are real too. You now know both numbers, and you can decide with your eyes open. That is more than the big sites ever gave you. Number 5, Lil Brown Smoke Shack. This is the workhorse, the everyday shop you stop hunting for the day you find it. Picture the value trap you already know, the cheap sticker that turns into a box of dry garbage the moment it lands. That is the failure this shop erases, because here the low price and the fresh stick show up in the same box, which is the entire reason a value shop is worth having. Lil Brown Smoke Shack has been selling online since around 1998, and the proof is the mountain of feedback, more than 600 reviews on Bird Eye and years of the same fast shipping consensus. 600 is the tell. Volume that stays positive is the hardest thing on earth to fake, because every single order is another chance to disappoint somebody who will type about it. A shop like this does not need to be your special occasion splurge. It needs to be the number you already know by heart, the one you order from on a random Tuesday without a second thought. That is the easy trust you used to have, before a warehouse taught you to brace yourself every time a box showed up at the door. This is the shop that quietly hands it back. Number 4, Atlantic Cigar Company. The buyers back this one hard, and they have been backing it for a quarter century. 4.6 stars across more than 220 verified reviews. A rating that deep and that steady only comes from years of orders that landed right. 25 years is the quiet proof. A shop does not clear a quarter century in this business by mailing out dead sticks, because the internet remembers, and 200 people who got burned would have said so by now. Atlantic did the opposite. Year after year, those buyers came back to the reviews with the same 3 words. It came fresh. It ships nationwide, so the whole country can buy from it. And in all those years, it never once sold itself up to a conglomerate. Independent, the same as every name here. I am not slotting Atlantic at number 4 because it is young or because it is a runner-up. I am slotting it here because from this point up, the list stops being about reviews and starts being about history. And Atlantic is the last of the modern shops before we walk into the old houses. It earns the 2nd order and the 10th. It is the shop you settle into. But one name on this list was already standing before your great-grandfather was born. Number 3, Rich's Cigar Store. Here is where the heritage gets serious. Rich's Cigar Store has been standing since 1894. That is not a rounded marketing number, and it is not a single source guess. It is documented over 130 years of the same shop, and it ships nationwide today so you can buy from that history without living near it, backed by more than 100 positive reviews on Yelp. Think about what surviving since 1894 actually takes. 2 world wars, the Depression, every trend that came and went. A shop does not last that long by burning its customers, because a burned customer in a town does not come back, and Rich's has needed them to come back for over a century. When you buy from a shop this old, you are not a transaction. You are the newest name in a very long ledger of people it kept. But Rich's is not even the oldest house on this list. Number 2, LJ Peretti Company. At number 2, we cross a line most businesses on earth never reach. LJ Peretti has been in Boston since 1870, more than 150 years in one trade, ships online today, backed by more than 100 reviews on Yelp. A century and a half teaches a shop, something the volume warehouses will never learn. The only asset that survives that long is a reputation you refuse to spend. Every box that leaves Peretti carries a name that has been good since before the telephone existed. And this is the part that should change how you feel about the whole thing. When you buy from a house this old, you are not a customer. You are joining something. You are the newest link in a chain of people. This name kept its word to across 5 generations, and now the chain runs through your humidor too. Peretti has been at it since 1870, but there is one house older still, since before the Civil War ended. Number 1, Iwan Ries Company, 1857. Say that year out loud. Iwan Ries Company has been selling tobacco since 1857, which makes it the oldest family-owned tobacconist in America. Not one of the oldest, the oldest. 5 generations of the same family in Chicago, through everything this country has thrown at it, and the family still runs it today. It never once sold that name to a conglomerate. Now picture the box that ships to you. Somewhere in that building, A member of the 5th generation of that family, the same family that has owned the same door since before most of the states out west existed, is the one closing and sealing it before it goes out. That is not a warehouse worker hitting a quota. That is a person whose last name is the reason the shop exists. And they are not about to mail you a dead stick and torch 168 years of trust to save a nickel. And here is what makes it the climax of this whole list instead of just a nice antique. It is not only old, it is clean. Accredited with the Better Business Bureau, backed by more than 200 positive reviews on Yelp, and held up across the serious cigar forums where the pickiest people alive argue about this stuff. Heritage that deep almost never comes with reviews that current. This one does both. That is the worst case gone completely. No vanished order, no beetle box, no dry snap. Not at a house that has staked 168 years on getting it right. This is the one you end up on, the last shop you ever need to look for. 8 shops, 8 owners. One thing they all share, and you probably did not notice me counting it, because I only said it out loud a few times. Not one of these 8 is owned by Cigars International. Not one of them answers to Scandinavian Tobacco Group. Not one of them is a Thompson, a JR, or a Segura wearing a different logo to look like a local shop. That is the answer. That is why your sticks from these people arrive fresh, and the sticks from the other shops arrived stale, beetle-bitten, or never at all. Because here is what happens when a giant buys a cigar shop. The name stays on the website, but the mission changes overnight. Now the job is to move volume. Push the subscription that is easy to start and a nightmare to cancel. The cigars are just inventory, and you are just a card number. But an independent shop answers to the person whose name is on the door. And that person sees you again, on the next order, on the next phone call. A cigar shop you can trust is not extinct. It is just not the one buying the ad on the podcast you listen to. So put down the roulette wheel. You never had to spin it. These are shops in real buildings, run by real families. An 1857 tobacco house in Chicago, a Boston shop that has been at it since 1870, a Florida crew that answers its own phone. Your humidor was never supposed to be a graveyard for whatever a warehouse decided to dump on you. It is where you keep the cigar you save for the night your kid is born, the one you hand your son the day he turns 21, the box you finally open the day you retire. So buy from shops, not schemes. Buy fresh, not forgotten. Buy from a name, not a warehouse. Write these down. The For Life list. Cigar Place, Cigar Hustler, Windy City, Lil Brown Smoke Shack, Atlantic Cigar Company, Rich's Cigar Store, LJ Peretti, and Iwan Ries Company since 1857. 8 shops, one you will never leave, and a lifetime of cigars that show up exactly the way they were meant to.